Hello. If you can hear me clearly, just put some kind of comment in the chat. Thanks. Let me just. Okay. Whew. Whew. My goodness. Well, welcome. Thank you all for your patience. I am, for all of those who will be watching at a non-live point in the future, I'm Lauren Brown. Welcome to the official Lauren Brown channel. This is, as we like to say, the OLB neighborhood. And please, while you're here, remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and you can also join memberships and turn on your notifications. But yeah, just wanted to greet everyone and say hi to my neighborhood. I see you all now. I want to just say good evening to Alan. Hello to my mods. Hi, Jason and Gina. I don't know why you just came off the screen so quickly. Hi. And I see you, Madame Truffaut. Hello. Via Speaks Royally. Hello. Hi, Lakivia. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. So we are going to have another one of our fun evenings and again, share this on your community pages and in your on your socials. I know I did not today. It has been hectic. So I'm going to actually, one second, let's see. I'm going to set the place, right? We, as always, like to have our hangouts in various parlors and salons. So this is where we are. One second. Let me see if it will show. Okay. All right. So yes, this is our current location. We are having a wonderful evening, chilling and hanging out, and in the process, we are also just gonna have some good, fun conversations. Would you rather, whatnot. Madam Truffaut, how's it going? It's going well. I have had a hectic day, but which of us hasn't, right? And how are you? How is everyone? Yeah. So I'm curious as always. Jason and Gina are greeting everyone. Good night, good evening. Yeah. Freedom Earners TV, a channel member. Thank you so much. You say blessings to you all. How are we all doing? Yes. How is the neighborhood? How is everyone? I hope that your Thursday and your week so far and the week before are all so good, so great. And okay. I realize I'm like leaning way closer. So let me just pull focus, guys. If anything weird happens, just forgive me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just a little. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I'm doing my best. Thank you. Thank you, Freedom Earners TV, for being a member of the channel. Always very happy to have you. And there was a post, I think at the start of the week. I can't remember if I did it Monday or if it was some other day. But yeah, so I put up a special video if you look in the shorts for members. And I kind of talk a little bit about last Thursday. So that's for the members of the channel. Anyway, let's get into this and I will, okay, here we go. So tonight, sorry, y'all. What's going on? Cancel that. Okay, let us. So strange. You guys, I'm getting the weirdest results ever right now. Okay. Well, Freedom Earners TV, thank you so much for being a member of the channel. So there's something on the shorts page for you to watch. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me, folks. Just gotta understand why this is doing. There we go. That's what we like. All right. Also, what happened to the? I am not on my own device, hence the complete confusion. Okay. All right. Just strange. Just very, very strange. Okay. All right. Cool. Um, so just everyone, let me know in the chat if you can see the slides as they are up now. I think so. I think you should be able to. Oh, okay, Madame Truffaut, you definitely can because you say it looks like a library. You say it looks like a library I once went to in Cologne, Germany. Honestly, I really, really do want to go to Cologne. It's so funny you say that because it makes me think of something that um, I just ordered that has to ship from Cologne. Um, which I won't get into because, again, just unnecessary random details. But I remember I had a really interesting evening in Paris with some friends, or a friend, and yeah, we'll say some friends in Paris, and um, I I met them through another friend, and yeah, and we just were out in like a beautiful sparkly fall evening, and it was cool. The two people that I'd met through this other friend were from Cologne, or at least going back and forth. So yeah, Madame Truffaut, if you have any stories about that or about your experience, please share it. Okay. Ah, Freedom Earners TV. That's a very, very thoughtful. You ask official Lauren Brown, how are you? I am as well as I can be. I think we try to make sure on this channel that we stay as upbeat and optimistic as possible. And I think I have every reason to be optimistic. And I also am just really appreciative, like I said, that my neighborhood is, that you guys are here. Thank you for being here. And I hope that you are enjoying this. Um, okay. So let's get into it, shall we? So, of course, I mean, we start everything with a little bit of a pitch. Yay. So there are the QR codes. I know that I'm currently blocking uh, the YouTube QR code for joining. Um, but I'm just going to leave it like that because this is streaming on YouTube. So I'm hoping you can find the various links. And of course, you can also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. It's at official Lauren Brown for all of those. And then, yeah, let's get into this. I ask you all, how is your day? So yeah, if you could just describe your day, was there anything, um, interesting or odd, strange, new, funny, why or why not? These are the things that uh, just are part of life and getting to know everyone. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Madame Truffaut, you say, my late husband and I used to go camping on the Rhine when we first got married. Was your husband from, ooh, sorry, wow. Was your husband from Germany? Or were you just living there for work or something? That's really sweet. So is camping like an activity you do frequently? Do you still do it? And for the neighborhood as well, do you all go camping? I uh, I went to camp. I went to a camp in the Catskills, and it was an interesting experience. I think one of the biggest highlights was when, at the end of well, there's a few highlights. One of them was that the bunks were people were divided into like teams or groups, and everyone had to put on like a performance. And so like it involved step, involved music. It was a whole thing. And oddly enough, I was supposed to go with a with essentially a cousin, and she wasn't able to make it, but I was like, I'm gonna still go because I might still be able to meet interesting people there and whatever. And I had a really really great experience. That's one of those defining like coming of age summer moments, right? And so I remember I had to sing this solo on top of the stage, but like on a riser on top of the stage, and do the risers weren't supposed to be there when the performance was happening. Like none of our rehearsals included the risers, but because another team had them for their performance, um, I had to work around it, which means I had to work on it. So I had to change my choreography to account for the stairs because you can't like stomp and step forward and backward, you know, like it's a flat surface if it's not. So I remember having to do that and then still having to sing. And I had practiced singing I was singing all week. And then they also had us do like random drills and stuff. So like my throat was so dry. And basically I just remember being like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. Drank as much tea as I possibly could, was silent for like that whole morning and day, and was just like, I'm just gonna do everything during the performance. And I remember, yeah, as I was on the risers and we had to do the choreography and the singing, the risers were shaking, but I, of course, like couldn't look like I was terrified because everyone else on the floor was like killing it. And I just remember that, like, and this is all because of someone mentioning camp, Madame Truffaut mentioning camp. But yeah, it was like, so it was one of those experiences where you kind of realize a little bit of what you're made of. So yeah, as I said, did the performance, and it actually ended up being way cooler because it became this thing of like I was hidden even though I wasn't supposed to be, and then like popped up on the riser, and then like that was like a big applause thing. So one of the things that moment taught me is like these hurdles that you have to climb, sometimes literally, that make you like scared because you're shaking literally, but also metaphorically. Um, Sometimes they actually turn into your winningest moments. And I remember that there was a point where, yeah, we had done the performance, and I still actually remember like the whole step routine. I'm not going to do it though. I'm not going to do it now, or like I won't say ever, but definitely not now. Um, anyway, the the we did the song, we did the performance, and um, then when it came like time for all the judges to rate every team, we ended up winning, and we won in part for our interesting choreography and also because of the performances. I wasn't the only one who sang. There were other people who sang. I just did some of the bigger solos. Um, and like, again, all this stuff was thrown at me last minute, and nobody was paying attention to, oh wait, this is like at least 20 feet. Like, this is huge. This is off the ground. This is not safe. And it wasn't on purpose. They didn't do it on purpose, by any means. But like sometimes when you roll with the punches and it sucks, uh, it can always be really, really amazing on the other end. Um, and that's why you don't give up when it's hard, because sometimes you end up winning. And then, like I said, at that same camp, that's when like to reward us all for our hard work, I guess. Um, because people also had to make original music. Like it was a whole thing. Um, they got like frisbee golf, and they like literally just because I mean they just had land, you know what I mean? And so that's like how we actually just chilled and relaxed. And so it was like a really, really great memory. So that's my association with camp. I mean, also there's the time that they made us sleep outside because we were being way too noisy in the bunks and we wouldn't chill. So that's also another part. But thank you, Madame Truffaut, for that ridiculously long story memory um, from camping. Oh gosh. All right. Hi, J Matt. How are you? Alrighty. Okay, and thank you for answering the question, Madame Truffaut. You say no Italian because the question was your husband German? Given the camping along the Rhine, you say no Italian. Germany is close to Italy. Yes, we used to camp throughout Europe for fun. I don't camp anymore since he passed. Oh, well, it you never know. The opportunity might come up one day, and it might be a way to feel close to his memory. But thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's really, really sweet. And rest in peace to your dear husband. Okay, so all right, let's go to slide number 2 or 3. So this, I think, in a way, kind of sets us off. Describe your ideal vacation. Ooh. So this is just a fun one. What is your ideal vacation? So what's the location? What time of year is it? Are you like a winter vacation? Are you a summer vacation? Are you a weird fall, odd spring? Like what's your thing? Who are you with, if anyone? What are you doing? What are you seeing? Essentially just paint the picture of what your ideal vacation would be. If you could go anywhere and basically do anything. What language are you speaking? And of course, I always want to know why, because I'm a curious mind. So yeah, why did you choose this place? And I'll start you off and to give you some time to think. I think, oh, Madame Truffaut, you also say you preferred 4-star hotels. So I guess the camping was more a concession to him, correct? Well, I guess that's what we do when we care for people, right? We find ways to um, to make everyone get a little bit of what they enjoy as best you can, right? Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys like a few seconds, and also tonight's slides we don't have as many. I've kind of been learning from all the other times, and this is a little bit shorter, literally in number. But yeah, so go ahead and ideal vacation. And the idea is you have as many vacation days as you need, and pay time off. So don't restrict yourself to like reality. Okay. All right. Freedom Earners TV, I see your comment. Um, you gotta tell us where that forest is, and yeah, what adventure. We want some details, because if you're doing something fun and exciting, I mean, maybe we all tag along. Okay, so I will start us off just to keep talking since I've been talking. Um, okay, so let me. I can't tell you guys if the background music is like even audible at this point. Okay, all right, it's there a little bit. Okay. So, what is my ideal vacation and what location? At this very moment, because it changes depending on mood and what I'm looking to do specifically and what I'm looking to feel specifically. But I think I ideally would be on a beach right now. I don't think just because of winter, but just I think there's something about sand and sea, and when you're like right next to the ocean. And the thing I love about going to the beach, and I imagine many of us have the same reaction. I love how immense the ocean is and how powerful it is. And when you're standing there and you're looking at these waves, and for me, it doesn't have to be a sunny day. It can be even a slightly cloudy or overcast. Obviously, sunny days are great. But, for me, I love that feeling of awe that comes from being next to this massive body of water that's like rumbling. So preferably a day with a little bit of wind. And I want the waves to be really kind of loud and almost like rolling, just this kind of heavy, deep rolling that, that where, this surface, there's miles of life beneath. And, specifically an ocean beach, because I just love the idea that somewhere on the far side there's another nation and another language and another world where people are living, and maybe someone's looking at the same, ocean, having the same thought, not to like get storybook about it, but I mean, I'm a writer, I'm an author, so it's kind of my want, isn't it? Yeah. And this would be, I think for me, the beach would ideally be in Jamaica. But I wouldn't want to be at a resort. I'd want to be staying somewhere, like a home. And if we're asking what time of year, I think any time of year. It's the equator, y'all. It's gonna be pretty nice. So I would just say this time of year right now. And guys, comment, write it up, let us know. Jason and Gina, let us know. I see there's a few of you, so let's just get some more perspectives. Everyone doesn't want my vacation, right? Some people might want to go to somewhere else. Paris. Maybe you want to go to Turkey. Maybe someone wants to go to the Czech Republic. Maybe someone wants to go to Kenya. Like, throw them out. Beach vacation is a bit cliche. So, yeah. But I think, too, just the familiarity. All right. So that's mine. And let's see. So, yeah. Freedom Earners TV, as we mentioned before, you wrote summertime, cool and wild forest adventure. So what does cool and wild mean? And so you said, thank you for your comment and thank you for being a member of the channel. Madame Truffaut, you say, I prefer going to cities since I live in the countryside now. Oh, makes sense. We all kind of want like opposites when we're like looking for a release or a change of energy. And you say, I like going out of season. Less crowded. Great. Agree with you. I like going to places I haven't been before. Currently planning a trip to Dubai. Ooh. Are you planning a trip to Dubai for vacation? Is it for work? Is it, and are you going solo? Are you going with people? And of course, since it's specific and real, do not include any like sensitive, like location. This is the address of my hotels kind of stuff. But just more generally speaking, Yeah, are you going? What's the context? That's really cool. You also commented, and Abu Dhabi. I like discovering the art and culture of the place. That's really cool. Yeah. One of the exciting things about when you travel to different parts of the world, is that it's seeing what the daily day, what the culture, what the norm is somewhere, that has nothing to do with where or what and I don't know. I think it's just really beautiful, and I also think it's really funny because those are two locations that are also like Formula One um, locations for racing. I know they've been changing up and adding and debating certain uh, race locations due to politics and whatnot, but I just think it's funny that those two happen to also be places there. So might that be, sorry for anyone who thought I was surreptitiously doing any gestures. I was not. Yeah, might that also be partially what informs your choice of location? But yeah, thank you for your comment, Madame Truffaut. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I was just thinking about that actually. I'm going to comment. I'm going to take a little detour and just talk about Formula One for like a half second. And I just want to say, like, heck yeah to the decision that Hamilton made. I am so in support of it. I think it's really cool. Oh, Madame Truffaut, I see your response. Thank you. You say your 60th birthday with your two best friends next year. Well, first of all, yes. Oh, and was it this past Tuesday that was your birthday? Happy belated. And awesome. I love that. You're going with your two best friends. That's sweet. Don't we love it when like we can actually travel with the people we like? Do you all have the same taste in like travel, adventure, or activities? Or is it more like because it's your birthday, you get to decide the whole agenda, which honestly makes sense to me. That's really cool. I love that. Yeah. Oh, I love that. So, yeah, I'm totally in support of it. I sometimes you just gotta let people know, like, you can't just keep stringing them along. At some point, there's a need to, deliver something, deliver what was promised. And if not, then you have to exercise your options elsewhere. Also, I mean, he was always super, into, the name escapes me now that I actually have to say it. But we all know, and he had 7. Schumacher, wasn't he with Ferrari? Or was it Senna? No, Senna was, yeah, all my brain is blanking at the moment. But anyway, one of his faves was with Ferrari. And so I think it's really cool that he'll get this opportunity. And, Benato's not there. The new guy, something, I can't remember. If they've had a previous relationship that makes in the sport, working together in, what was it, Formula 2? And if I'm wrong, feel free to just drop a comment with the details. Because, again, end of the workday, so I don't remember all the details. But it bodes well if the new team boss and Lewis have already some manner of working together and familiarity. So that's cool. Ooh, hello. All right. Hi, Rohini. Welcome. You're saying all of your besties have kids, so you travel solo. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but what's your ideal? What's your ideal vacation? Where would you go? And what would you be doing? What activities? I asked Freedom Earners TV to let us know what his cool and wild activities would be, and he hasn't said it yet, but I'm sure he will eventually. All right, but yes, thank you, Rohini, for your comment. Um, Agreed. So, Madame Truffaut, you say yes, it's the right move for him, and I'm assuming you're also talking about the Lewis Hamilton 2025 Ferrari move. Yes, yes. I'm glad we're on the same page. We're on the same page on a lot of things, so that's quite fun. Um, Great when you meet people who, even if it's just via a digital medium, you connect to, right? Yeah, I'm excited. Not so much for not so much for this season, but obviously what 2025 holds. I have no doubt that wherever Lewis currently is, we know, but you know what I'm saying. He will, with full, like, what's the word? Full commitment, full attention, drive his heart out to the rest of the contract before trying new things. And it's interesting the fact that he'll have to be made less aware of certain developments in their car for the next year. It just, all those privacy issues and what do you call them? The secrets, the trade secrets that they won't want spread. Okay, Madame Truffaut, I missed this comment. You said, we met up a few years ago in London to see the play Hamilton. I'm assuming you're talking about your two best friends, or are you talking about you and Lewis Hamilton? Either way, that's cool. Have I attended a Formula One race? I have not attended a Formula One race at all. I have attended like watch parties with other people, but certainly not in person. I just have to figure out a time and make it happen is really what it is. And, does require a little saving on my part. So, hey, but I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to. I think the race I'd most be interested in seeing is probably just Spain to start things off. Italy, Spain or Italy. And of all the US races, it's mostly Austin that I want to see. And I think it's just because Austin is the most, it's the longest, it's the oldest one. So I feel like it'll probably have the best setup as far as, the infrastructure just being like kind of chill. Also, I like Austin. I've been there for like South by and stuff. And so I just think it'd be cool to see it there. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to the next slide, y'all. And you can comment whenever, honestly. And for anyone watching this in post, again, you can always write in the comment section down below, even when you're not live. Rohini's like, we're sliding in at the last moment. Hey, you said your ultimate is sightseeing and tours, good food, drinks, and music. Yes. Sightseeing, are you a museum person? Or are you more like a specific sites, like a historical location where the Battle of blah happened, or where, the founding of XYZ? Like, what's your definition of sightseeing? Or is it more like different places where you can have like fun and adventures, etc.? Okay, cool. Thank you for your comment, Rohini. Thank you. Also, and if anyone in the who's watching this has attended a Formula One race, do comment. Tell us how your experience was, what you loved about it, what you were surprised by, what you did or didn't expect. And yeah. Okay. So the next one is kind of in honor of Black History Month. What? And also because I'm a lady. Name and describe a Black woman you admire, and this can also just be yeah, a Black woman you admire and have learned something important from. And the caveat here is think outside of the box, so not using a significant other, parent, sibling, or relative. Now, I say that, but if you really, 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 really have like, listen, my mom did X and this is the thing and this is what, like, who am I to tell you not to talk about your mom, right? Like, you can throw them in. I mean, Black women are making history every day, so I'm okay with it. But just to get you thinking, try something else. Who are they? What did they do or not do that inspired you? And what lesson did you learn from them? You know, did you take up anything particularly? Oh, and Rohini, in response to the last question about sightseeing and what she likes to, when I asked what she likes to specifically see and focus on. Thank you for responding. She clarifies here. Hold on. All right, most architecture and art. So you would do like a city tour where they take you to like historical buildings, and I feel that. I feel that. I'm the same way. I love to look at, you know, especially when you go to an old enough city or location where you have so much history and time, and so you can have something that is ancient, you know, from BC days all the way to hyper modern, you know, buildings that are like glass, you know, sculptures basically. Um, I think there's something really exciting about architecture. It also tells so much of the like economic story of a place and as well the cultural history of a place, because you know certain places, like if you look at like northern Africa, you'll see the different conquests and the different cultural influences. Same with honestly most of like the Middle East and even like as you go further toward East Asia as well, like for just really old cultures like Japan and, you know, its empire days, and then, you know, the various parts of history till now, how, you know, like insanely enough, and I mean that with all compliment, there are still architectural firms that operate today, and they've been around for like, was it 200, 300 years? Just super, super ancient family businesses that like continue on and on and on. And they've passed down this knowledge of these unique ways of making and building buildings. So I hear you. I hear you. Architecture and art, nothing like it. Are you someone who would collect? So this question is for Rohini, but it's also for everyone who is watching in the live. Again, thank you all for being here. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join it, and share this video with your friends. Turn on notifications, all that. But yes, this question is for everyone. When you go to a new location, are you just absorbing the art? Are you looking for artists, you know, street art that you can buy? Yeah, how do you absorb art? So thank you so much for inspiring that question, Rohini, and I'd love to hear your response. And yeah, okay. So Madame Truffaut, you said, here you commented, in Monza, you used to watch the test runs. Oh, yeah, that sounds so fun. That sounds so fun. And yeah, you just finished your point for Ferrari. Well, I imagine that if you're still able to do a little bit of travel, since you're still in, you said Rome, right? So are you planning on enjoying more of the Ferrari experience, you know, as you've got Hamilton out there in a little over a year or under a year? But yeah, so again, the question, y'all, was name and describe a Black woman you admire and have learned something important from. Who were they? What did they do to inspire you? And what lesson did you learn from them? So I'm going to go on a little bit of silence and let y'all think. Oh, you said Cremona. Okay, I see. Okay. Okay. So we see here. Alan, hello, Alan Aberdeen. You comment, Helen Baylor, what you learned from her is to never give up on life, in spite of the challenges of life. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. And I'm trying to think if I have, one second, y'all. I'm still here. One second. Let me just, okay. Helen Baylor. So I'm just looking her up. Okay, yes. So are you talking about the singer-songwriter? Is that who you mean? Let's see. I hesitate to try and find her. I'd love to be able to show her. I might have to just use my phone because, again, I'm on a device that is not mine. And I don't want to cause more chaos with StreamYard right now. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use my phone and I'm just going to show you all. Let's just do it analog, digital. But yes. Jason and Gina, I see you're still here. But comment and let us know. Everyone is on the question here. Name and describe a Black woman you admire. This is in honor of Black History Month. This is a beautiful month. A Black woman you admire and have learned something important from. And the idea is to think of somebody beyond, let's say, significant others, family, siblings, relatives, just to expand. But again, if you have loved ones who are awesome, I'm not stopping you. So who are they and what lesson did you learn from them? Jason and Gina, you are one of the channel moderators and a major help. So yeah, definitely pop in and give us your perspective on that. So Alan, back to you here. You're saying Helen Baylor. And I'm going to assume you mean the singer-songwriter. Her full name is Helen LaRue Lowe, but her stage name is Helen Baylor. She was born in January. Oh, okay. January 8th, 1954 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so she seems to be a gospel singer. And she's quite beautiful. Hold on, let me see if I can pull her up here. So hopefully this will be clear because this is a pretty pixelated. Nope, we're not going to go with this one. Let's do her album cover. Why not? She gives me almost, what is her name? What is the actor's name? Gina Torres vibes. I think it's Gina Torres. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay. What a beautiful face. Gosh. Yeah, y'all, definitely look her up. I'm not sure if I've heard her songs before, but I might have. She looks like she's like really, really good. I'm seeing some photos of her performance, and her posture is awesome for that, for singing. Well, thank you for sharing that, Alan. We'll definitely have someone we can look up and learn more about. Helen Baylor. Rohini, I want to be able to share your hilarious comment on screen, but there's a certain word that rhymes with witch that I just, if only you'd put some stars on there. But yeah. Anyone you admire? Is there anyone you admire? Okay. Okay, Madame Truffaut, you say Josephine Baker. I loved how she was a trailblazer in the performing arts and civil rights. She inspired me to take my rent money and move to Paris when I was 27. We love a gal who takes initiative. That is wonderful. Wow. You see, that's amazing. Like, one person living out their dream inspires someone else to just go for it. That is so cool. So have you been in Europe since you were 27, or have you like gone back and forth? That's very, very cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, but we love Josephine Baker, and she's so, I think a pioneer, as you said, trailblazer, such a pioneer when it comes to what performance was and how you had style. And I think also too, I remember her kind of highlighting, because the time when she went to Paris for her career was a time when it was so hard for Black women to pave a way for themselves, in the entertainment industry more than they already have now, or what's experienced today. And, by going to Paris, she also circumvented so many limitations that were put on Black women. And I think became that inspiration for so many people, both of her time and as we see, beyond. Very cool. And she still inspires so many artists. And I don't remember, did they say she inspired Betty Boop? Was that what it was? Or was it a different woman? But thank you very much, Madame Truffaut, for your trailblazer, Josephine Baker. A1, absolutely. And Alan Aberdeen is adding a bit of information on Helen Baylor here, which is that she was she had a drug misuse or drug use issue, and still managed to overcome. And then she created something of her life, and clearly she has, because I'm looking here, and there are so many songs, but let me see the albums. Y'all, there's about 9 albums I'm looking at. Each of these is an album, the squares on screen. So we've got her live album, and then that's in 99. She released that. But let's see. Earliest one seems to be from 1990, called Highly Recommended. Then she did Look a Little Closer in 91. And 93, Start All Over. 94, The Live Experience, which is how you know that she's done a lot, because they're like, we can trust this live performance. And then let's see, 96, Love Brought Me Back. And I imagine each of these was quite autobiographical, as music tends to be for a lot of artists, right? Let's see what else. So then, in 99, she had a live album. And let's see, she did albums in 2002, 2006, and 2008. My Everything, Full Circle, and The Definitive something. It cuts off at that point. That's awesome. That's a very full discography. And Josephine Baker, we talked about her, but let's let's really go into it. So Josephine Baker was a French dancer and singer, and this is from Madame Truffaut, your comment, where you mentioned that you love her and she inspired you to move to Paris at 27. And you did answer the question asked earlier. Thank you so much. You say back and forth. You have lived in Europe since 1995. Awesome. So pretty much, except for a few years, my whole life. And I love that. Really cool. It's essentially similar to my parents with the story of immigration, right? You go somewhere inspired by whatever inspires you, but usually something that's positive and encouraging. And you build this whole new life in a whole new place that has, its own story and connection. And we can make it anywhere. It's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. So yeah, let's see what the internet has to say about this wonderful person, Josephine Baker. So under known for, is an American dancer, singer, actress, and civil rights activist who found fame as an expatriate, whatever, in Europe. And this is according to .edu. Hold on, which Smithsonian. I think this is Smithsonian. I think this is the Smithsonian. Yep, it is. So this is Smithsonian website. I know you can't see it, but I just bring it close so I can have a point or frame of reference. Okay. So yeah, it gives a quick timeline of her life. So she was born Frida Josephine McDonald in St. Louis, Missouri, to a washerwoman and vaudeville performer. So there was performance already kind of in her story. And she experienced the horrors of the St. Louis riots in 1917 and embraced her talents as a way out of discrimination and poverty. She began her career by performing in vaudeville showcases around the country and was offered a chance to perform in Paris at La Revue Negre, which is the Black Review. And that's me using that word in the French context, not in the American one. So once the review closed, Baker was given her own show, and from there her career skyrocketed. She was the first African-American woman to star in a motion picture to perform with an integrated cast at the American Concert Hall, and one of the first African-American entertainers who achieved acclaim both in movies and on stage. During World War II, Baker performed for integrated audiences of French and American troops. She also served as a member of the French resistance forces and smuggled messages in her lyrics that were sent back to France from opposing forces. She received the Croix de Guerre for her efforts. Baker later returned to America to take part in the civil rights movement. She was the only female speaker at the March on Washington in 1968. And when you think of how many women and how deeply involved they were, you're like, oh, I wonder what all those voices would have said. But she did speak. Amazing. And yeah, at the March on Washington in 1968, where she honored women civil rights activists. There we go. Women supporting women. We love it. Thank you so much, Madame Truffaut, for sending us on a little trip down the knowledge and history lane of Josephine Baker. Let's see. Okay. Freedom Earners TV channel member. What? Okay. So you say Rosa Parks Montgomery bus boycott. Yes. All right. Let's look her up. I think a lot of us know her, but why not? Why not get some details, right? Okay. Rosa Parks. So she was born Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, or that's her full name. She was born on February 4th, 1913. So isn't that cool? She was born like 4 days ago, as far as her birthday, in Tuskegee, Alabama. Okay, let's see. Anything? History. National Women's History Museum. That is where I'm finding this information. So, of course, they have this photo here. Again, I know you will not be able to see it, but just for context. So it says on December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks boarded a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Instead of going to the back of the bus, which was designated for African Americans, she sat in the front. When the bus started to fill up with white passengers, the bus driver asked Parks to move. She refused. Her resistance set in motion one of the biggest social movements in history, the Montgomery bus boycott. That is what Freedom Earners TV is talking about right now in this comment. Thank you for bringing this up. Yes, she was born Rosa Louise McCauley in Tuskegee, Alabama on February 4th. 1913, she went on to an industrial school for girls and later enrolled at Alabama State Teachers College for Negroes, which is now called Alabama State University. And she unfortunately had to withdraw because her grandmother became ill. And she turned the frequent discrimination she experienced into action. She became active in the civil rights movement at a young age. And she married a local barber by the name of Raymond Parks, hence Parks, when she was 19, and he was actively fighting to end racial injustice. Together, the couple worked with many social justice organizations, and eventually Rosa was elected secretary of the Montgomery chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So that is known as the NAACP. And yes, so the bus boycott was described. And honestly, I think very cool. So you learned from her, did she inspire you in a specific way? Was it to stand up for your rights? Was it to not let people tell you what you can and can't do? Was it to just make you more aware of advocacy? Freedom Earners TV, we're very curious. What was it that you found inspiring? Because I think we can all take so many lessons from the people that have been mentioned here. And thank you so much for being a member of this channel. It means a lot. And so we're curious, and I'll look out for your response. Okay, so Rahini says, if we're talking non-family, it would have to be Janelle Commission. I probably spelt that wrong. She was the first Black Miss Universe. Amazing. Okay, let's see what that's about. Thank you very much for bringing up a name that I am not familiar with. Always interesting to discover new and unknown to me, Clearly, Miss Universe was quite known. And let's see how the spelling goes. Hopefully, the internet will correct us. All right. Okay. I think we got it. Okay. So Janelle, it's spelled, just for anyone looking, commission. I might be pronouncing it incorrectly. So listen, we all have our hiccups. Now, I hope I didn't type this wrong, but I think it's simply just the lack of learned spelling. Yeah, y'all, I do take this much time when I'm trying to type names. I'm like, let me make sure I didn't spell this wrong, just because I know how annoying it can be, especially if your name is unique, to not to get reminded of your otherness in that way. So I try to be thoughtful on that, but also if I'm wrong, I'll just be like, oh, sorry, and tell me, and it's not that deep. Okay, so it didn't let it go through. Like I said, this is just going with the flow here. Can't fight everything. But I'll tell you the spelling. So Janelle Commission, that's with a J, but you had everything else, the J-A, and then the rest is correct. So Janelle for Janelle, and the last name is Commission or Commission. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Commission. And this is a great photo of her. This is on the Wikipedia page. She is laughing it up. She looks so happy here. So that's her in 2014. And she's now a politician, is what I'm seeing on Wikipedia. Let's see if there's any other sources here. But given that, I'm seeing it in more than one location. Yeah, I'm seeing it in more than one location. Okay. So here we go. She was born on June 15th, 1953. She is 70. And wow, I mean, we don't crack, do we? She's 5'5". And yes, she was Miss Trinidad and Tobago in 1977 and Miss Universe in 1977. And that's really cool that there's a stamp. She's got a stamp. She studied at Bishop Anstey High School, migrated to the U.S. at the age of 13, and returned to Trinidad and Tobago 10 years later. After winning the Miss Trinidad and Tobago Universe title, she went on to be crowned Miss Universe in 1977 in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, and in the process became the first Black woman, Rohini mentioned this, Black woman to win the prestigious pageant crown. After winning the title, she was the most commonly known as Penny because she was as small as a penny. That sounds about right for Caribbean nicknames. And she studied fashion at FIT in New York City and then returned to Port of Spain in 76 and was selected to represent the country at the 1977 Miss Universe competition. And yeah, during her reign, she was an advocate for Black rights and world peace. Commission was awarded the Trinity Cross, the country's highest award, in 77. 3 postage stamps were also issued in her honor. In 2017, Queen Street, located in the capital of Port of Spain, the capital of TNT, was renamed to Queen Janelle Commission Street in tribute of her 77 Miss Universe win. And she was named chair of the newly formed Tourism Trinidad Destination Management Company in 17. Yeah, and she's vice chair of, she's doing a whole bunch of stuff for tourism. And she married Brian Bowen, founder of Bowen Marine, who sadly passed in 89. After his death, she married businessman Alwyn Chow. Well, she has had a very accomplished and quite busy life. And I gotta say, she certainly knows how to represent and how to lead, right? All of those commissions, you don't just get there. It takes time, takes work, and a lot of these pageants are they're not necessarily easy to win. So that's awesome. So thank you, Rohini, for your suggestion, for your nomination. Janelle Commission, that is very cool. Very, very cool. So Madame Truffaut, you're saying about Josephine Baker, I guess what you learned, what inspired you say, I loved that Ms. Baker refused to play for segregated audiences, was a spy, and worked for the French resistance. Don't you just do that? Isn't that just how it is? No, obviously, quite cool. And then you also commented, she's the first Black woman with burial honors in Paris at the Pantheon. Well, clearly Trailblazer was the whole narrative of her life. Quite cool for Josephine Baker. And as well, we have Janelle Commission, also a trailblazer. These are some amazing women. Garf Adventure, hello. Thank you for being here. And we're just talking, not just talking, we are joyously talking about in celebration of US Black History Month, which everyone is welcome to celebrate wherever they are in the world. Black women who have inspired you, and we're thinking beyond just relatives, family, but to just the larger pictures and narratives and people who have had an impact on us and inspired us. And we've mentioned Rosa Parks, we've mentioned Janelle Kumis Young, Josephine Baker, as well as, who else was it? There was another person, it's not coming, Helen Baylor, yes. So yeah, these are all really interesting people. Okay, let's see. All right, so thank you so much for joining us, Garf Adventure. Alan says, I am so proud to be a Trini. Clearly, Trinidad has been doing some good stuff. TNT, y'all are getting it out there and achieving. And I think you have every reason to be proud. For myself, I would say that a person who inspires me very much, I mean, there are so many. I think of Kamala Harris. I think of the fact that she has been in so many ways a trailblazer and is still currently blazing trails. Let's see how we can include her. So here it says, Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States. That's the first woman of color, first Asian woman, first Black woman, first Jamaican woman. There's a lot of firsts with Kamala here. And she was born October 20th, 1964. She is married to Douglas Emhoff. And yes, her current occupation is Vice President of the United States since 2021. Let's see. All right, on Wikipedia, let's go in, or we could go to whitehouse.gov. Let's check this one out. All right, so this is from whitehouse.gov. So she was sworn in on January 20th as Vice President, the first woman, the first Black American, the first South Asian American to be elected to this position. And she works as the Vice President. I will not go into too much detail. It's not meant to be overtly political, but yes, I do admire her. So she has, as the whitehouse.gov site says, fighting for the people is nothing new for Vice President Kamala Harris. In 2017, she was sworn into the United States Senate, where she championed legislation to fight hunger, provide rent relief, improve maternal health care, which is definitely something that affects not just women, but also the men in their lives, or as well, it affects the economic outcomes of so many young people, so many children. So that's, the futures of over half of the world's population when we think of like the role that women play, right? And in America, just the significance of that. So she fought to improve maternal health care, expand access to capital for small businesses, revitalize America's infrastructure, and combat the climate crisis. She questioned 2 Supreme Court nominees while serving on the Judiciary Committee. So the most recent ones that were not, while she was in the Senate, she questioned them. She also worked to keep the American people safe from foreign threats, She was in 2010, so prior to that, was elected Attorney General of California, where she oversaw the largest state justice department in the country. So California is on its own, I think they said it'd be the 3rd largest economy in the world. California basically is a country. And presiding over that is a massive thing in any sector of the government, right? Of the Californian government. And so she was Attorney General. She took on those who were preying on American people. She won a $20 billion settlement for Californians whose homes had been foreclosed on, and a $1.1 billion settlement for students and veterans who were taken advantage of by for-profit education. And she defended the Affordable Care Act. 2004, she was district attorney of San Francisco, where she was a national leader in the movement for LGBTQ rights, officiated the first same-sex wedding after Proposition 8 was overturned, and established the office's Environmental Justice Unit. She established it, meaning it didn't exist before she did it, and created a groundbreaking program to provide first-time drug offenders with the opportunity to earn a high school degree and find employment, which is so key to being able to, continue and rebuild your life, which every person should be able to do once they've served their time. Let's see, Department of Justice, something. She joined the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, where she specialized in prosecuting child sexual assault cases. So, and she's from Oakland, California, and the daughter of immigrants. And her mother is Shyamala Gopalan, who was a breast cancer scientist. And her father, I don't know if it mentions it here. So if it doesn't, I don't know. I'm not going to add it without the source specifically here. But yes, it says daughter of immigrants, absolutely. And let's see. Yeah, she's known as a trailblazer throughout her entire career. She was a first in all of the stuff that we see, and whether you like her or not, and I, like I said, happen to like her. I find her quite inspiring. I think the thing that inspires me most is that, she understood the system that, that is the American justice / legal system, and recognized the importance of not just complaining about it, not that people are complaining about it or who are complaining about it shouldn't, they should, that's necessary. But she also understood that sometimes you have to be inside of a system to help the people who you understand, who often get victimized by it. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't think about, that, if you're in a position that is, if you are someone who is on the need end of a situation, and you are about to be judged or to be discussed, and your fate or your future is in the hands of someone in front of you, do you want them to be able to understand your experience or the experience of someone like you? Or do you want them to not really have much connection to your personal experience, your identity, and the things that impact your life? And she chose to actually take that route and say, okay, the system exists and the system sucks, but these are the tools we have. And given that, how can I make the most positive impact? And it's something that I think often gets lost in the politic game, that the system still is what it is. And so in order to help your people, sometimes you just have to actually be involved in that system. So, that's something that I found, I think is really brave, because a lot of people would not want to take on the public opinion that comes with the line of work she's in. 1 second. All right. So I think that's our little bit for that slide. Now let's go on to, oh boy, the would you rathers. Oh my gosh, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Why is this doing this? Anyway. All right. So, let me definitely change this up. And what we will do is, while I'm reading this, slide me down a little bit. All right. Okay, cool. Cool. So this is Would You Rather. That we finished our class time, y'all. So this is ridiculous, and yeah. Would you rather walk everywhere you will ever have to go, only on foot, including overseas, so oceans become dry paths when you walk through them, but the ocean floor topography remains the same, meaning you have to navigate mountains, valleys, volcanoes, and you must always travel in a straight line as the crow flies, meaning if it's from New York to, I don't know, y'all, what's a coastal city in Europe? I can't even think of one right now, even though there's so many. New York to Biarritz, which is in France, southern part of France. You have to basically walk in a straight line, or in a straight line. It depends on what angle you're seeing this at. But yeah, you can't go around it. So that means you'll have to, like, you know, Frodo and Sam style, just journey through and to. I'm not going to go the full nerd, but you know what I'm saying. What would I do? Oh, 1 second. The other option is, you could do that, right? Walk everywhere you have to go, but you must go in a straight line, and that includes overseas. Or only be able to breathe underwater and only visit coastal towns with large populations, meaning New York City, Los Angeles, Sydney, Australia, Hong Kong, while always swimming against current. And you must live as with your home base in one of the cities above water in a reverse diving suit, or you cease to live. Think of it like Sandy from SpongeBob. If you're familiar with the cartoon, it was a squirrel who lived underwater, and in order to do so, she had a spacesuit. and then she lived in a bubble, basically a fishbowl underwater. So it kept her home and her life fully oxygenated. But then when she had to go out to the seabed and visit SpongeBob and Patrick and all of her friends, then she had to wear her suit, her little oxygen suit. In this case, it would be the reverse. When you have to go above water, you need a water suit. So you're just, you're a fish trying to keep it going, basically. So you live above water, but you only travel and go everywhere via underwater. And the only place you can go to are really busy coastal cities. So there's no such thing as hiding. There's no such thing as being an introvert and saying, I don't want people to see me. You will be seen. Which one would you pick? I'm going to give like 5 seconds of some, what you call them? Silence for you to like think about it. And again, that is, as the crow flies, you walk everywhere, including overseas, or you go everywhere underwater, breathe water, but you live above water, and you can only go to coastal cities, so really busy, packed places. Take your pick. Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any comments here, but it's all good. I'm gonna pop in with my perspective on this one. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel and like and share. Thank you. All right. So if I had to walk everywhere or breathe underwater, honestly, because I just think giant squid are some of the coolest things to ever happen to our oceans, I would actually pick living underwater. I think, like I said, the ocean is so massive and like extremely huge. And I know that for some people, that's a thing that kind of terrifies them. And I fully respect that because anything that big and unknown is going to, present some unique mysteries, and everyone's not comfortable with that. But I personally I love the idea of um, this verticality and three dimensionality that you don't experience while walking on land. I don't know if you've seen like free divers, and there was a French free diver whose name I can't remember now, who became really popular. He had a video. He released a short film of himself, and I don't know if it was his partner, his girlfriend, or person. I don't know who the significant other was. But they'd film each other, and that point where you meet where you have this perfect balance in your buoyancy between like the pressure above, the pressure below, and obviously these individuals are holding their breaths for like minutes at a time. But there's something really beautiful to me in the experience of like just watching that. But also when I remember as a kid, like in swimming lessons, really loving like when they were teaching us to dive. I am by no means a good diver, so please do not think that this means like you can chuck me in a pool, because we'll have issues. But I really really liked the experience of like one of the things that they would have us do to train or practice is to go and pick up a brick at the bottom of the deep end, and you'd have to carry it back up, and that was kind of the challenge of your strength and also your stamina and all that stuff. And it was not easy, and I don't think I was particularly good at it. But I always liked that I could be upside down, right side up. It's just, I imagine, again, you think about space, right? It's like that to me is the closest that any non-astronaut gets to that experience. So to me, the ocean is like the fantasy that everyone has when it comes to space and aliens and, creatures out in the universe. The ocean is as, mysterious, frankly, more so. And when you see all the biodiversity, you really go, oh, these are the things that inspire the stuff of science fiction, and so I would pick it, even though I'd have to always be like, if I visited any of these coastal cities, in like the biggest spacesuit, but it's all water, it's not oxygen. I just think that that's what a scuba diver is experiencing. And at least, we do know that there is that cross section of diving. But I gotta say, if I were to be, oh, Madame Truffaut, you say? I would rather walk. Just think all the amazing places to see, and man, would my legs be killer. I love that. Okay. So like, one of the things that's really cool about the point you just made is, hold on, there we go. All right, let me make this quick change, update. All right. One of the cool things about what you just mentioned is I thought the same thing when I was writing it. So again, thank you so much for being practically inside of my head. You would get such, like, in the process of traveling, you would tone to such a degree, and you'd see so much. Um, and yeah, because like the Marianas Trench would no longer just be a trench you can't understand. And of course, in this narrative, my supposition is that like the wildlife just moves with the ocean. Like you're not seeing anybody flopping. We're not doing that. It's cute. It's pretty, right? So I think that'd be really awesome. Um, and you also commented, Madame Truffaut 451. You commented, I couldn't deal with all the sea creatures. They scare me. Understandable. Plus, who wants to deal with wrinkly skin and ashiness? Not to mention all the trash. Probably would drown in plastic. Oh boy. I mean, you think of some of the places that unfortunately people are forced to live now on land, and it can look quite like those places, quite like that. Even without the ocean or without the water element. But yeah, sea creatures scaring you. Honestly, there's something about that makes them cool. But I like that like otherworldliness moment. Not saying I'm like a horror fan or anything. Like I don't like gore, but I love things that are mysterious and that require you to think about them for a moment or two, to understand them. And yeah, and so also when you say deal with wrinkly skin and ashiness, why would that be the case? I mean, you figure if you could breathe underwater, right, then some party is potentially, more able to handle it. Maybe you've got scales where the pads of your fingers were. Maybe you've got like I don't know. But I also think it's quite funny, like the idea of like perpetually pruning. that that wouldn't be too fun. That would not be too fun. But thank you. And then you said, true, Madame Truffaut, you said true, but sharks. And what I gotta say is, but don't we have sharks on land? I mean, at least a shark, you know what it's looking for. You know what drives it. You know where, it would be or where it's likely to be, right? There are patterns. But with human beings, we can be quite unpredictable and very dangerous, right? So the capabilities in all people, right? It's not something that I'm saying is actually the case for every person is not terrible. There are great people in this world. But I think we've got sharks on land and sharks in the sea. And for me, at least the sea ones, we know like don't bleed around them, and don't look too much like a seal. Try not to look like an otter, or not an otter, a seal or a sea lion. Sea lion. Sea cows. Thank you for your comment, Madame Truffaut. You said, but on land, I can club them. But you could club them in the water. Maybe harpoon them, I guess. And that's if they're like attacking you. Or maybe you live somewhere they don't like to be. There are some beaches and environments that sharks do not particularly enjoy. Now, what those are, don't ask me. But you never know. You never know. You might find the right part of the ocean, and that's where you hang out most of the time. You've also got whales, though, like beautiful whales, dolphins. I don't know how you feel about octopi, like the normal sized, octopus, like that normal size. Got like a lot of colorful fish, beautiful tropical fish, sea sponges, anemones. You've got all of those, you've got vegetation, you got like seaweed, like think about how good seaweed is for your skin, like seaweed wraps and stuff. And what is it, like a source of collagen or something like that? Don't quote me on that. But I mean, you could like perpetually get fresh marine collagen. Like, hey. Um, on land, I can club them. Oh, it's funny. Um, cruel, Madame Truffaut. You said they taste good on the grill. I'm assuming you're talking about either the octopi or the squid or the fish. I don't know. But I definitely think you're not talking about the dolphins. So that's what matters, right? Um, I was gonna say, thank you for your comment, by the way. I was gonna say that if I were to have to walk uh, everywhere and experience that, I think I'd actually love being able to see the just the what it actually looks like outside of water when these volcanoes are bubbling. Um, at such like in such deep, like it'd just be interesting to see like the Earth's plates, those places where, because it's not, I mean, obviously it's not going to look like something super, super, super overtly obvious, like when different seas join and they might have different viscosities due to like soil and other things that are kind of, and current and whatnot. But just seeing those moments, those not moments, those massive like fissures or things that are known to be fissures, in reality, like without the veneer, I think would be cool. I'd also kind of feel like a walking miracle, like if the sea is always parting as I'm like going somewhere, like that'd be kind of crazy. So just for the sheer like Hollywood effect of it, that'd be kind of cool. And yeah, like I said, I love just how I like that. But I fully respect, as you'd said before, I fully respect the sea creature, thing not being your fave. That's totally fine. But yeah, for anyone watching this when it's posted, do also comment. What would you rather do, or which would you rather? Walking everywhere, including overseas, as the crow flies, but you've got to walk in a straight line on the ground. You can't go around the volcanoes, the valleys, the mountains. You've got to climb all of it. Or you only breathe underwater, and you can only, if you go to land, visit a very busy coastal town, and you must wear a reverse spacesuit, let's say, where you're breathing water. And yeah, only coastal cities. So like Hong Kong, New York City, Sydney, Australia, etc. Let us know. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide now. And this is another would you rather. So, all right. So would you rather be forced to have all of your phone calls be maximum volume speakerphone conversations where both you and the other person must yell/scream for the entire duration of the conversation, whether or not you are in public? However, you cannot hear others' phone conversations. Or forced to hear loudly, so at maximum volume or maximum decibel levels, all phone conversations occurring within a 20-foot radius of you at all times while living in the most densely populated city in your country. And both of these situations are a 6-month duration. Which one would you pick? Why? So you are literally yelling every conversation you have out loud via speakerphone, wherever you are, public or private, at all times for 6 months. Or you hear everyone else's at max volume at all times for 6 months. And you live in a densely populated city. So yeah, within 20 feet of you, all phone conversations. Which would you pick? And you say Lisbon here. I'm not sure what that is, but are you thinking about like coastal cities, coastal towns? or just Portugal in general. That's Portugal, right? Um, but yeah, so I will put in, of course, a little moment of thought time. And yeah, let's see. Let me see if I can find the music. Yeah, there you are. Okay. um. Okay. Madame Truffaut, you said that's just a normal day in Rome or Milan. Are you talking about the loud phone conversations? Hearing everyone's conversations, or are you talking about you specifically yelling? Are you A or B? Which scenario? First scenario, second scenario? Um, for me, I would definitely, I'd actually pick, I would pick, let's see. I would choose to hear conversations. Not because I want to, actually. Um, but there's something about, I think, and oh my god, no. Wait, Madame Truffaut, was it you who was saying in the last live that we had that um was it you who was talking about, yes, going deaf either way, depending on what music you're listening to? Because there's a point when you're like in cities where background noise starts to like become as disturbing as it is. When it's constant, it almost becomes white noise, which is somewhat, you can kind of tune it out. um However, there is something to, I think, also hearing within a 20-foot radius of yourself every phone conversation, um, that I think could become quite distracting depending on where you work, and also where you live, and also what's happening. So like, if you're in an office where, like, I think, like, if you're a trader, like if you're someone who works and you're dealing with, like, you're constantly on the phone, or you're in exchanges or something, or if you're someone who is like, let's say you're someone who operates like a 911 operator, or like a phone, like the people who do customer service. I can't remember the exact title of that job right now. But basically, if you're in environments where like everyone's constantly on the phone and the phone's always ringing, like I could imagine that kind of, especially depending on, like, again, if you're a 911 phone operator, like if you're near that at all, that could become quite distressing. It could become quite distressing to just hear that all the time. But I think, like, the amount of like nonsense conversations that I might have, I can't imagine having to scream that like all the time. Like, I just think Oh, I would so get tired of it. But I think I'd more be able to tune out. And it, that does make me also think about for people who have, now you might pronounce this tinnitus and some might pronounce it tinnitus. But the ringing in the ears, for some people that is an experience. And I think it'd be cool to explore that a little further. Just what the experience is like, to learn from someone in that perspective. And so, when I think of how this experience is, how scenario B is kind of a constant sound, it definitely makes me think there are people who live with a version of this all the time or off and on, right? Madame Truffaut, you said, I guess the first, like I said, that's just a normal day in my life. Okay, so you'd go with the first one, which is to be forced to yell into your phone and have speakerphone conversations and back and forth. That, honestly, I think that's kind of cool because it's to me, it's just such a different sensibility, but I think it's cool. You also said, Italians, so Madame Truffaut is commenting, Italians are loud and always gesturing. So are they also Jamaicans? Because my family, we can be very physically expressive and a little bit volume heavy, but always for some interesting debate or conversation. Continuing your comment, you say, they say here that no one can keep a secret. They really don't whisper. Oh, well, that's an interesting perspective. And I mean, given you live in Italy, right, you'd know more than I. So I will defer to you on that, given your own lived experience. But that's quite funny. You said that's just a normal day in Milan and Rome. Touche. Oh man. So yeah, if you're when you're watching this, post the live recording, comment and let us know. Are you picking scenario A? Are you the one on speakerphone yelling, and having loud conversations like an Italian, according to Madame Truffaut, or are you the one who is wanting to hear, not wanting to hear, but forced to hear within a 20-foot radius of you at all times for those 6 months, every phone conversation at max decibel levels? And yeah, which one are you? Which one would you pick? Which would you rather? Okay, next slide. So I think this might actually be either the final slide or the second to last. So we are wrapping up because I wanted to kind of make sure I didn't go over long tonight. All right. So the question is, if your friends were to describe you as a kind of breakfast cereal or breakfast food, what food would they pick and why? And I mean, this is across culture, across, I say breakfast cereal, but also breakfast food, because people eat different things, and have different sensibilities. Some are savory, some are sweet, some like, carbs, some like no breakfast. What is your breakfast food? But no breakfast, no food is not an option because it's a food question. You got to pick a food. And no, honestly, yes, I take that back. You can totally say that, but that why is really the key there. Why would your friends say that? That you're fasting. You're the breakfast fast. That would be interesting. I hope no one has that experience, or if it is, that it's somehow enjoyable. All right. So here's some time to think about it. I'm gonna sip some water, and there you go. Okay, so that is so itchy. I'm wondering if it's because I like allergies. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I do not see any responses, but I'm gonna pop in with mine and give y'all some time to think, and if not, we can keep going. All right, so if someone was to describe me as a breakfast cereal or a breakfast food, I'm a whole meal, man. So I definitely wouldn't say a breakfast cereal unless, hmm. I mean, okay, so Reese's Puffs are delicious and fun and kind of crunchy. And they've got chocolate, they've got peanut butter, and like the milk is so sweet afterwards. So I mean, I just like that, but I don't know if I'd be described as that. I think as a breakfast food, I'd probably be described as like a galette, which is essentially a buckwheat pancake. It's a savory crepe, and it's people have a variation of this in many countries around the world and places around the world, but of course, where I experienced it is or was introduced to it is France, and I always found it to be quite like surprisingly satisfying. And like you could put anything inside of the folded, basically it's this giant crepe, and you put like savory in there. You might have an omelet, you might have pieces of ham, or you might do veggies grilled, you might do steamed, or not steamed, what is it, smoked salmon. And you fold it, and it's like really, really neat. And it's well presented, and it's extremely, because they are quite large usually. They're like, I don't know, the height of a water bottle, folded, and they have a little window, that they make from the folded edges that show you what's inside. So why I say galette is because, it's not something that I think, at least and I'm coming from the American experience, it's not something that the average American who's like exposed to American culture is going to immediately think of. But they're going to feel some familiarity with it. They're going to go, okay, this feels familiar, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at. It smells really nice, and it looks very like origami, like very nicely put together. But there's clearly something else in there that's interesting. And like I said, it smells delicious. And usually you're having it when you're hungry. So I think in the same way that it's a very satisfying food, it's a very unique food, but it's not so unique that it's like completely foreign. But it is still an experience for people who've not had it before, or not had savory in their pancakes or crepes before. It's like, oh, this is different, but this is still cool. I honestly think that that's how, as a breakfast food, I would be described by some friends. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when I first met her, but she can be surprisingly deep and filling, and she is very neatly folded and put together. Like a little origami folder, except not little, but little. And yeah, surprising, because you can have all kinds of things going on inside, like all kinds of conversations. I like all kinds of people. I meet, different people, different places. I explore things that I find interesting, and I'm usually a surprise to people, because I think we all do this, but you have your preconceived notions. Like I said, we all do this. And then you meet me, and they either meet your expectation, or they supersede, or they surprise. And that's just people. So that would be me as a breakfast food, I think. And I mean, hopefully I had some level of self-awareness with that response. But yeah, I think that would be me. I also love a galette. And I remember, a random travel story again, but I remember going to this tiny town, and it's a seaside town. So it was in the Brittany region, northeast corner, like northeast France. And went into this restaurant that I honestly didn't expect too much from. It's very cute, very like, just, it kind of gave you like regular old, place to get food. Almost like how a chain might be, a chain restaurant, like a Panera. Not hating on Panera at all, by the way. Like not endorsing, not hating, just as an example. Where you're going to get like serviceable food, but you're not expecting an experience too different from maybe the norm. And so I went into this restaurant, and I just remember the staff, like the servers, the people who were providing us our meal, and the owner or the manager. I can't. I think it was the owner who was also the manager, right? Very kind, like an extremely friendly bunch. And the food, the galette was perfection. Everyone got something different. So I think we started with the galettes, and then we went to a crepe. So we went savory and then sweet. And it was all freshly made. It was so delicious. It was so filling and surprisingly like fresh and delicious. And okay, I see your comment, Madame Tufo. I will get to that. Thank you. But it was so surprisingly filling, and I was like, yeah, I actually need to give compliments to the chef. Like, I need to actually figure out who the chef is. Like, this is insane. So when I and some people I was with finished the meal, I just remember as I went to the register. So they had us like, it was 2 floors, and it was in a medieval building, since so much of that region was built in like you're talking like Tudors and that kind of thing. And so it had like the dark wood with the stucco between, that look from the Middle Ages. And that's also the other thing I thought was so interesting, like seeing these buildings that are so old, and you're just like, the wood has just really contorted itself and survived. Wow. Anyway, so went to the register to pay, and it would happen to be the owner. Oh no, I was saying that I was on the second floor. So they had us at a table like higher up in the restaurant. So we were the only people in that area, and then we had like a great time. And that thing where a meal becomes a bigger thing than just a meal, because you're not only satisfied, you're like surprised at how satisfied you are. And then you're also, like they were so attentive and so friendly. And the thing, like the difference between American culture and other cultures, because it's not just specifically Europe, lunch times are longer, meal times, and like restaurant culture, where it's like, there isn't this like, all right, next table, get up, you've been here an hour and a half, time to go. No, you can kind of take your time and enjoy the moment. So between that and how friendly they were, and then just how good the meal was, and how great whatever the crepe was, I think I probably was just doing salted caramel, because that region is known for their salted caramel, and it was so good. Then going, as we went down to pay, like literally just telling the owner, like, the meal was delicious. Like, the meal was so good. Compliments to the chef. Like, thank you. And the way his face lit up, and he was like, "Thank you." It was really like it was such a wonderful example of pride in the work. I think that guy, like, I mean, I remember him now, right? But I didn't expect it to have that kind of impact. Yes, his food had that impact on me. I didn't think that what I said would have that impact on him. And it was so beautiful that we both felt in that exchange and in that experience like we'd been given something. But I still feel like I got the kind of better end of the deal in some ways, because that meal was so much more than even just the euros, spent on it. It really was, for all the memories and the fun that was happening. Yeah, yeah. So but it was pride in the work. But a galette, man, it can be a lot. So Madame Truffaut, you commented, I am a nice savory sausage made with sage and maple syrup. Wow, that does sound fantastic. You say, because people say I'm spicy and sweet, and they look forward to having me over. I love that. I love that. That's awesome. And you're like, you commented again. You said, I make the meal. Oh yeah. I'm here for it. I hope I'm invited. I'll bring wine. I won't come empty-handed. I promise. I have good guest manners. Or you tell me like if I need to bring anything, and I'll just bring it over. Love that. Yeah. So for all of you in the comments, let us know and think about this and pose this not just to me, but to your own neighborhood, right? This is the official Lauren Brown neighborhood. We're always very happy to have you. And whether you just have to listen, you might be doing something. You might be like in the middle of like washing a dish, or like you might be half asleep because you had the most intense day. And trust me, I feel you on that. So, maybe if you are dozing, dream of like what breakfast food you'd be. That would be so strange, but maybe it would be cute. Maybe you're like, if you're like Madame Truffaut, maybe you're like little sausages just like flying past you're counting sausages instead of sheep. I don't suggest you throw a galette. That won't land well for anybody. It's very flat, and you might feel like you can do it, but have you thrown an omelet? This is messier than an omelet. So yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny though. I love that. You're like, sage and maple syrup because I'm spicy and I'm sweet. Okay. And let me think, is the next slide. You have a wine cellar? Go ahead. Of course you do. You're in Italy. Why wouldn't you? That if you're going to collect wine anywhere, you better do it while you're in Italy. Are you a red wine, white wine, rosé? Are you do you like a dry wine, a sweet wine? What's your thing, Madame Truffaut? For me, yes, champagne's fun, but I definitely I like how rosé somehow is right in the middle. But there's something about, and I don't get to enjoy it much these days at all, wine, but when I'm having like a nice like meal, I do enjoy a very, very like kind of dry, leggy red. There's something about the way that like hits the palate when you have heavy food that is so refreshing to me. Oh, this is funny. Okay, yes. So never an English breakfast, you say, Madame Truffaut, you say never an English breakfast. I think you've just made a whole ton of people agree and disagree with you. Look, you don't like the beans on toast with the sausage and the. I mean, you have the sausage in common, right? Um, Nobody get weird with that. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What else is part of the English breakfast? I remember having a traditional English breakfast when I was uh, in London. When I went there not recently. When I was last there. Um, I think being a Jamaican, like some of the traditional, like the parts of traditional English breakfasts, feel very familiar. Even if I'm not, like, we don't have beans on toast specifically, like as a breakfast food. But I mean, we've all had like the various elements. I think it's just there's something about. I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree with you at all. I can appreciate nearly every food, unless it like actually makes me ill. But English breakfast. I just wonder who would call themselves in it. Like, I imagine someone who feels very, very English and is very, very proud would claim being an English breakfast. And I think they have every right to. But I love that you say never an English breakfast. That's funny. And thank you for the follow-up on this, my earlier question about what wine you prefer. Madame Truffaut, you say, I prefer a white wine, Lugana, but I like a full body red. There you go. So Lugana, is that like a light like wine, or is it a specific region? Like a specific, like how there's obviously like Bordeaux and different. Is it like that? Because I know that I'm not familiar with Italian wines very much. Let me look that up. You've sparked my curiosity. Hey. Okay. Oh. Madame Truffaut, it seems that you are a bit of a cool spotter, by the way. So wineenthusiast.com literally has, again, I know that it's not, but here we go. Just so you have a reference. Discover Lugana, Italy's lesser known white wine. Ooh. Okay. So elegant, structured, and delicious wines from the tiny Italian region of Lugana, yes, are some of the country's premier white bottlings, made from Turbiana, I'm not sure how you'd pronounce that, a unique native grape grown in the southern shores of Lake Garda. They are crafted in 5 distinct styles and all are loaded with personality. Okay, now Madame Truffaut, I'm seeing the link here. Okay. Lugana, denominazione di origine controllata DOC wine. So those are like, you know how if you buy a wine from Italy, usually you'll have a little tag on it. And that just is like a verification of the origin of the wine. So DOC, those are called DOC wines, account for about 90% of total production, while the rest are either designated as superiore or riserva. I might be screwing up the Italian pronunciation. My apologies. Releases or produced as sparkling or late harvest selections. For years, the Lugana region was a secret shared among thousands of tourists who flock annually to it was a secret among tourists? Interesting. That's an interesting paradox. Okay. And it was saying, thank you for your comment, Madame Truffaut. I'm just going to go into this a little bit and then we'll hop onto the next of what you're saying. For years, the Lugana region was a secret shared among the thousands of tourists who flock annually to the delightful villages that surround Italy's largest lake. But thanks to a continuous rise in quality, Lugana's fame has finally spread beyond northern Italy. So I guess tourists, but they mean local tourists. Of the more than 17.5 million bottles produced in 2018, nearly 70% were exported around the world. The US was the denomination's fourth largest market. Well, the US is was it one of the largest consumers or the largest consumer of wine in the world? One of the top. So it was the denomination's fourth largest market. Some of the top names in Italian wine have bought land and vineyards recently in the area. The list includes Amarone, powerhouses Allegrini, Tomasi, and Cesari, as well as the Santa Margherita. Santa Margherita. I don't know if that's Spanish or Italian. I'm not sure because I know so much of the two languages overlap, which acquired the Camaiol firm in Samayol in 2017. Okay. Well, the region borders, it says with borders that span Veneto and Lombardy regions, Lugana's growing zone encompasses 5 towns. Peschiera del Garda in the Veneto region and Desenzano, Sirmione, Pozzolengo, and Lonato in Lombardy. All right. Well, that gives us a bit of geography there. That's very cool. Very cool. So now we know about the Lugana wines. Thank you for bringing that up. That's really exciting. And yeah, you're pretty unapologetic about the beans on toast. Oh, okay. I'm gonna take this off the screen before you start a war. What do you mean? What does that mean? Worst English breakfast in Spain. How are you not having a Spanish breakfast in Spain? What an opportunity, right? What an opportunity. Oh, hello, Legs. Welcome. We are discussing breakfast foods. So breakfast cereals or breakfast foods and what you would be. So essentially, if you or your friends were to describe you as a breakfast food or a cereal, what would you be? Yeah. I chose a galette, which is a savory crepe made of buckwheat flour. And it's eaten kind of all over the world, but I, again, know of its origins being in France. I might be kind of wrong with that. And Madame Truffaut, you said that Madame Truffaut said she would be a savory sausage made with sage and maple syrup because she's spicy and she's sweet, and people look forward to having her over. So, Legs, what would you be? And remember to like the video as well. Okay. And let's see. What do I have? Oh, okay. Here we go, guys. Here we go, y'all. Ah! We kept the live from going to 3 hours. I'm so excited. So yeah, that's the end of the live session here, the live stream. I have to thank all. Oh yes, Tignanello. Yes, that is a good wine, and you can access it in the U.S. You can at least get a glass if you want at San Ambrose restaurants. I know that they have it at many of their locations, and I'm sure any other place that has fine Italian wines would. So Madame Truffaut says it's a favorite of the Duchess of Sussex. Yes, she named a blog after it, so it had to have an impact, right? Rohini, you said, so funny, you guys. I love this sliding under the door. That's that foot in right there before the elevator closes, and I'm like, I hear you. You're not gonna let me stay on this floor. Rohini, you say, I would be fresh oven bread with fried plantain. I'm saying it the Jamaican way. Plantain with chocolate or hot cocoa, right? Chocolate, because you said later in your comment, you said, I mean hot cocoa. First of all, that sounds so like sweet and cozy. That sounds like a really cozy breakfast. And considering that you make things via crochet, cozy seems very appropriate. And so yes, I love that fresh oven bread. Is this bread like a white bread, hard dough bread, a light bread? Are there fruits, nuts in it? What kind of bread is this? I think I know what you mean, but just for anyone else who might not know, fried plantain is that's like a whole food group. You know what I mean? It's a snack. It's a dessert. It's a course in a meal. It's like you can steam them, you can fry them, you can bake them. Baking them makes them like baking them low for a long time makes them like they become dry, like dry mango, like how that texture is, and they get like the sugar really like pops. So if you want a snack, that's really good. And you know, depending on how ripe or overripe they are, the sugar content goes up, but they can become more chewy or crunchy. They're like somehow one of the most like diverse foods. And I also know that like it connects a lot of diasporans as well as like just people. Again, I don't know if it's because it's a tropical, like it's a fruit, right? It's considered like banana. It's like a cousin, right? Yeah, that's a beautiful breakfast, Rohini. That sounds filling, delicious, comfy, all those good things. Okay. Legs, you say you would be a steak omelet with hash browns. That's what I had at IHOP. I know that sounds mad opportunist, but no, that's actually what I had at IHOP. Like, I had was it ribeye? What do they call it? No. Was it ribeye? Skirt? I don't know what they call that particular piece of steak. T-bone. I think it was T-bone. Oh, God, a protein breakfast. I'm not mad at you. And considering all the brain work you do, you're providing yourself with a lot of source and sustenance there with that kind of breakfast. Hash browns. Where would you have this? Is this homemade, or is this diner? Is this someone that you know made this? Are you going to a specific person or thinking of a specific person who makes this for you, and who is it? I'm curious. And Madame Truffaut, you said great places, and I'm assuming that's in reference to when we were talking about the Lugano wines and the 5 regions, Lombardy. I can't remember them all right now, but I think that's what you were saying in reference to those places in Italy, in like the North Italian like area. Oh yeah, true. Especially what is it? Mallorca? Ibiza? I don't know how you want to pronounce it, right? But Madame Truffaut comments, lots of English tourists in Spain. They only served English breakfasts. Yeah, where were you? Like, where in Spain were you when this was happening? I'm curious. Rohini, you did respond to my question earlier. No, just plain bread. Eggless, though, but it has to be warm. Yeah. For the that plus the hot cocoa. Do you dip the warm bread in the hot cocoa? Because depending on how hot the cocoa is, that could actually cool that like warmth down, or just sop it up and be like perfect Yeah, do you dip your bread? Do you dip this bread, this breakfast bread that you are, into the hot cocoa? And how often do you do that? And I know the answer is yes and all the time, but I still want to hear how you think of it. Oh, cookies and cream. Uh, hello, Cookies and Cream says hello, everyone. Well, hello to you too. You arrived at a very, very funny time because I don't know if you see, but we're on the last slide of the this thing here, and we were talking about breakfast foods, and if you were to be described as one, whether it's a cereal or a food itself, what would you be? And yeah. Leg says, I love IHOP. Now, are you just saying that to get on my good side? I agree. IHOP is awesome. And specifically IHOP for some reason for me. Although I do like other diners and generally appreciate like diner food, IHOP, I think maybe I've just had so many good memories at an IHOP that I just like IHOP. Also, something about international in a name and pancake in a name and house in a name, and they all belong together. And those words are so like perfect on their own. Just why not? Why not have a favorite place called IHOP? And yeah, Legs, you say you love diner food, but if you can't get that, you make it yourself. Well, there you go. That's called finding the solution or making the solution. And I'm going to wrap this up here and just say thank you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to all of our commenters today. Thank you to everyone who just showed up and to all of you who will be watching this live later on. I hope you had fun. I had fun rambling, and I also had fun. Madame Truffaut, thank you so much for popping in and really, I think, being my buddy here today. That was fun. I got to learn a lot about you, and you also taught us all a lot as well. Thank you to Rohini. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for all of the, as well, the explorations of Black history and how impactful Black women have been and continue to be. That this is February. This is the month where we, it's too short, but it's the month where we get to talk about the our experience of amazing people, and also learning, as either African diaspora or people who are just curious, right? Learning about our history, our stories. There's still so much to learn. There's so much that we don't discuss or know. There's history that's in the making. But I know that I'm proud to be associated with being part of the diaspora, however you want to say it, right? And I admire so many people, and, there's so many more names. And I always encourage and truly that we remember the people in our lives who have contributed, because even if, the people we know aren't necessarily history makers and news makers, someone contributing to your life is never a small thing, because life itself is no small thing. Not to live it, not to be it, right? Yeah. So think of who in your life has been someone helping you blaze a trail, or has contributed to your growth or your whatever. A Black woman, a Black person, more broadly, the community. And give them their flowers, because we get to, and we get to do it and you don't know how you'll uplift those individuals, just like the gentleman, the chef, the restaurant owner who made that galette, and the way he like literally exploded with happiness, just from a simple word and recognition. We do so much for people when we acknowledge them. Yeah. So anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I will see you next week. I thank you so much for your understanding and flexibility with last week. It truly was out of my control. Yeah, I will see you in the next one. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications both here and as well for YouTube and on your phone in general. And make sure that the notifications are set to all, not just personalized. And to join the channel, just click on my page. I did have a QR code in the corner, so you can always go back a few minutes and see the slides, and that QR code you can scan, and that will give you access to the join page, where your contributions help to keep this going. All right, so I will leave you all with that, and we'll do last comments. But thank you so much. And I'm Lauren Brown. From me to you, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.